We're live. You don't want to see that. All right. Let's get this all adjusted here. All right. Just a little bit. All right. Let's do that. Let's get live over here. And we're live here. All right. Oh. All this fancy stuff that I forget to use. All right. So it's rainy today, and I'm hoping that's not going to, it won't get too loud, right? Morning, Amy. I don't know why, but this doesn't want to stand up now. Sorry for the roller coaster ride here over on Facebook. Sorry. How are we? Okay, that should do. All right, everybody happy? Myself included. All right, I think I need to adjust just a little bit over here. There. Whoop. Ah, okay. I'm having trouble with my cameras this morning. I apologize. I don't know why, but they're not going like I want them to. There's rain. I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. All right. Hopefully that will do. You guys over here look good. All right. Anybody up and going? All right. Morning. All right. So just another minute or so. I want to say this. I don't think anyone that did it is on right this second, but they may watch it at some point in the not too distant future. I want to thank everybody who did the 4-week Get Zen program. We're wrapping that up right now. And I also want to thank everybody who did the 5-day challenge this past week. So if that's something that interests you, give me a holler. I'm going to start the challenge again in a week or two, depending on how my life is going. It's a little nuts sometimes. And then I'll do another 4 weeks starting in March. So that's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of a commitment, but nothing terrible. It's 15 minutes asana every day. 15 minutes. Come on, you play on Facebook for longer than 15 minutes, don't you? Right? Or YouTube. You can get lost in the streaming YouTube. And then it also includes 5 minutes twice a day, right? So whether you meditate, whether you do a little bit of breath work is entirely up to you. But it's a total of 25 minutes for a full day. And these tiny little pieces spread throughout. So if that's something that sounds like you want to start a new habit, you want to bring more peace into your life, you want to just add a little bit of flexibility, because God knows, like first thing in the morning, don't you feel a little stiff, right? Or if you have to sit at a desk all day, right? You feel a little stiff when you get up, right? We want to avoid that as much as possible. I mean, you sit for any period of time, any length of time, and you start to get a little stiff. But the more you move, the better that gets. So good morning, everybody. Let me just see what's going on over here. Everybody can hear me and no problem. Hello with all the attitude. All right. Awesome, you guys. Yeah, exactly. Good morning. So, all right. Today we're going to twist in lots of different places. Remember to go slow, right? You don't want to jerk yourself around ever in any poses, right? But certainly not in twists. You want to remember to keep the spine really long. If you try and twist a compressed spine or where you're not aligned, you can damage, right? You can cause damage. And that's the last thing we want to do with our yoga practice is bring pain, right? So remember, Lots of length through the spine and in that nice alignment. So if you feel a little round, don't twist with the round spine. Find your alignment first and then gently work in, right? We'll start off easy. We'll get some crazier things going on as we go, right? But just listen to your body and listen to what it needs from you today, every day, right? So let's align the heels to the groin here. Take inner thigh rotation. And we'll sit up nice and tall. So the pelvis is going to stay rooted and even, right? That's where everything starts from. Twists don't occur in the pelvis, they occur through the spine. So keep that set. Lift your lower belly. Lift your pelvic floor. Lift your lower belly in and up. Sitting tall through your sides. And then relax into your shoulders and your hips. Extend out the crown of the head. So again, we're looking for that length through the spine. Drawing the awareness inward. And just taking a moment with yourself here. Keeping the mind from wandering all over the place. Just being present. And allow your awareness to move to your breath. Gently begin to stretch that breath out. And we're going to work into a 3-part breath today. Ideally, most of the time when you're practicing, but specifically today. So when you exhale, get extra empty. And then when you go to inhale, draw that air deep into your lungs. Let your upper belly poke out, filling the lower lobes of the lungs. And then as you exhale, pull the upper belly in toward the spine to get really empty again. So do that again. Inhale deep. And exhale empty. But one more time like that. And then again here, inhaling deep into the belly. Continue to inhale, expand wide through your side ribs. And then pulling the rib cage back together and the belly in toward the spine so you get empty again. Inhaling deep and wide. Exhale, empty. Do that one more time. And then we're going to add on to that. So inhale deep into the belly, wide into your side ribs, and expand all the way up until you couldn't take another sip of air. And then exhale from the top, through the middle, to the bottom. So we inhale from the bottom, all the way up to the top until we're full. And then we exhale back out top to bottom. Do that one more time. This great big, enormous, exaggerated breath. And then keep that idea in your head. Cut it back a little bit so it's a little less exaggerated and we can begin to do something else as well. That's the breath you want to maintain. So make that your primary goal. Let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the sides. With an inhale, we're going to stretch them up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down again. We'll do that again. And once more. So this first little baby twist, bring the right hand over to the left knee, left hand behind your back, just a gentle, easy little twist. So thinking about your foundation, keeping that pelvis rooted and even, your spine really long and neutral, the positioning there, not leaning or rounding. And then let's release that back to center again and do the exact same thing to your second side. So just a really gentle, easy twist. Release that back to center again. Let's take it to the first side, working a little bit deeper with this one. So use your left arm like your second spine. It'll help you sit up tall. It'll help you keep that length and the neutral spine. And then pull gently against the knee here. So with your inhales, lengthen up. And on the exhale, imagine rotating your belly button over to the left. And then inhale, sit a little taller again, maybe adjust if you need to adjust. And as you exhale, turn your left side ribs more toward the back of your mat. And then inhale, sit as tall as you can get. With your exhale, draw your left shoulder back maybe. And what about your right shoulder? Can you draw your right shoulder back as well? You can look over the shoulder. And even once you've sort of built the twist, see if you can find a little subtle inhaling and lengthening and exhaling, maybe deepening into one area or another. Maybe not. And then with that release, come back to center, switch sides. So use your arms, sit up really tall, pressing into the floor, pulling against the knee, and rotating around bottom to top. Doesn't get too loud. So working with your breath, finding each little piece of your spine, and ideally twisting into that fairly evenly. And then we're going to release that to come back to center again. So let's make our way around onto hands and knees. And just take a second, make sure you're feeling even on the four corners of the hands, neutral with your knees, right? You're not shifting your hips over to one side or the other. And then working into some cat-cows to begin. Inhale the belly toward the floor. Exhale, rounding the spine toward the ceiling. Flow in and out like that. Feeling the movement as evenly up and down the spine as you can. We'll take one more flow like that. And then just find the middle. So this nice neutral spine, making sure your belly is pulled in here, shoulders neutral on the back. Okay. We'll extend the right leg straight back. So heel in line with the hip here. We want to press through the heel, making the leg really active. Flexing the toes, rotate them toward the floor. From there, extend the left arm and reach out. Work in opposite directions. Stretch away from the body so that you feel all of those muscles in between. Body supporting the back. Take one more breath. And then release back down, hands and knees. So the exact idea to the second side, left leg back. Press through the heel, reaching away from the body, toes rotate toward the floor so you feel that inner thigh really kick in, yeah? When you're ready, the right arm stretches forward. Same idea, reach away. Really, really active position, even though it doesn't look like much. And then we're going to release back to the mat again. Working back to that first side, we're going to add on to that. So extend the right leg and the left arm. Take your time getting there. Find your balance. And then let's take the leg over to the right. Ideally, heel in line with the hip. We're going to bring the hand around to the left. Ideally, hand in line with the shoulder. But the same idea here. Stretch the heel away. Stretch your fingertips away. Keeping your hips as neutral as you can. You're breathing, right? Release the hands to the floor. We're going to take the toes over to the side. Come on up on the left knee. If you need a little cushion, give yourself a little cushion. Ideally, here the heel is in line with the hip. Belly still pulled in. We're going to stretch the left arm up and take it over, reaching down the outside of the right leg. Work to keep the left shoulder back. Finding tons of length through the left side of the body. Try not to feel like you're squishing the right side of your body. I don't know if that's a technical term, but you get the idea. Come on up again. And then release. We'll take the hands to the floor. Lift the leg out there. Hold it for just a second. And then take the leg back and down again. So that same thing on the second side. Got to do them both. Extend the left leg, right arm. Get that idea of stretching away when you're ready. Maybe taking the leg around, maybe taking the hand around. Stretch out to the sides. Releasing the hand, take the toes over to the floor and come up on the right knee here. So check out your alignment, adjust if you need, certainly. Taking the right arm up and over. We'll take one more big breath. And then on the inhale, make your way back up to the middle. Release the hands. Lift the leg, hold it out there. Take it back and then down again. So one more like that. Go ahead and take the right leg back and the left arm forward. This time, bend your knee back there. Reach around and see about finding your foot. So you got to work with your balance, of course, and maybe finding the foot is the trouble. And if you sort of bring your right heel over towards your left hip, it makes it easier to find. If that little trick helps. You can press the foot into the hands, drawing the shoulder back. You can lift the knee away from the floor a little bit more to find a little bit more quad stretch. Try not to let it slide out to the side. Keep it pointing down. We're going to take one more breath. And then gently release. I'll extend long. And take it back down again. All right, you got second side. Let's go ahead and extend the left leg and the right arm. Take your time here, bending, and then maybe reaching. And again, use that little trick of bringing the foot to the hand, if that works. And then find wherever the expression is for you. Taking one more breath. And then gently releasing that. Stretch out. And bring it down. So nice and easy, just a moment, go ahead and sit back into a child's pose. And let your spine release. Stretching the arms out or maybe taking them back by your heels. Find what feels good. And then back to all fours. So again here, finding neutral with your spine, even on your knees. We'll go ahead and take the right hand, palm up. Let's go left just so you guys can see a little bit better maybe, if you have to look. So left hand, palm up. We're gonna reach under here dropping maybe down just to your left elbow. You can continue to reach over to the right with your hand and maybe drop down to the shoulder. So notice that if you bring your shoulder down to the floor, you might shift your body weight, right? See if you can be really centered and even on your body weight. Even on the knees, ideally that shoulder is in the middle of your mat rather than leaning off to the left. Right? You're feeling this? And then you can work deeper by using the arms into the floor. So press more into the left arm and you'll sort of feel your belly work around. Yeah? If you press more into your right hand, you might feel that shoulder draw back. Elbows bent and pointing up toward the ceiling to keep the shoulder open. That's where you're going to help feel your twist. If you're just leaning, there's not a whole lot of twisting going on, right? Feeling that? So then, of course, you can add all the fancy stuff. You can extend the right arm up toward the ceiling, perhaps. You can step the right toes back and then lift the toes away from the floor. So opening up the hip is fun to play with the balance, but you sort of lose your twist, right? See if you can level out your hips again. And then gently release what you got. Make your way back to all fours. And we'll switch sides. So let's take the right hand, weave it under. And again, you can drop down to the forearm. You can reach all the way out, shoulders to the mat. Again, kind of ideally right in the middle, underneath where your shoulders were. So not leaning forward or back, nice and even in your knees, right? And then again here, you decide how deep to go. So if that's good, you're done, right? You can use the floor and kind of press around and rotate into this deeper twist. Remember to keep the spine really neutral and long. Extending the left arm, maybe. The left toes up off the mat if you want to play with that. And again, you can absolutely open the hip a little bit. It'll be easier for the balance for sure. Or you can keep that hip more square so you feel a little bit more of the twist with your balance. So release what you got, make your way back into all fours, and sometimes you fall out of that. From here, we're gonna move into a down dog. So however you feel like getting there this morning, let yourself wiggle and stretch on the way. And then begin to settle in here. So ground the four corners of your hands, just like when we're on hands and knees. Press down into the floor and imagine pulling the arms together up underneath. So you can rely on the bones more, or you can make it more for the muscles, depending on what you need. Pressing the chest back, feel your stretch in your lower back, your hamstrings, of course, sinking toward the heels toward the floor. And then keep everything else as you have it here. And we're going to lift the right leg straight back. The temptation is to lean. Don't lean just yet. Press through your heels. See if you can feel that extra stretch in the left leg. And then go ahead and open the hip without changing the shoulders. Taking the toes a little higher. You can bend the knee toward the ceiling if you like. So here we're keeping the shoulders stable rather than the pelvis like we've been, right? Take another big breath. And then we're going to release that. Switching sides, same idea. Lifting the left leg. And then just holding here in this sort of neutral place. See if you can feel the extra stretch in the right leg. Watching that the hips of the shoulders stay square. Open the left hip. And then maybe bend the knee points up-ish. And then we'll release that side. So let's walk the feet to the hands and come to a standing fold. Feet are hip bone distance apart. And we're just gonna walk in place a little bit. So bend into one knee, press into the opposite heel. Switch sides back and forth. We're moving a little bit deeper into our hamstrings. And then finding a center. You can keep this sort of maybe just a little bend in the knee. Your shoulders can move forward a little bit. We're gonna open the feet a little. So maybe just outside of the shoulders or so. We'll go a little bit deeper into the straddle, but you don't have to rush there just yet. So let yourself kind of hang for a moment. See if nodding your head yes or no kind of can maybe release your neck. If you get shoulder or neck tension here, this can be nice. This can be a relief. And then we're going to take the hands here, walk over to the left. So whatever you touch, allow your body to lean because you know it wants to. And then come back to center and over to the right. Back to the middle. We're going to open the feet a little wider. Make sure your toes point forward. Here we want to feel even on the four corners of the feet. Let's go ahead and take the fingers behind the lower back, interlace. Draw the shoulder blades together, stretch your knuckles away. You can have a gentle bend in the knees. Try not to lock your knees, of course, right? But they can be bent here a little bit if you like. If the hands lift away from the lower back, great. But think about your shoulders instead of where your hands are. We'll release the hands. Take them back down to the mat. So ideally the knees straight here, not locked. Okay? If you need to bend them a little bit to get your fingertips to the floor, go ahead and bend, or you can use a block, of course. We're gonna take the left hand underneath the face. So it's in front of your feet, it's a little further forward, maybe right underneath your face in the middle, right? Keep your pelvis doing what it's doing. Bring the right hand to the hip and allow the belly to move toward the right. Side ribs toward the ceiling, the shoulder back. You can look up at the ceiling. Notice if this right hip popped forward or the right knee bent more. Bring it back to neutral. It will make your twist seem like less, but it's not really. It just is what it is. We're going to release that twist. Switch sides, so the right hand's in the middle and the left hand's to the hip, and we rotate around. Find length through your spine. What does pressing into the right hand feel like? Does that lengthen your spine? Does it deepen your twist? You can use the floor here as well. And then release the twist. We're gonna walk the feet back in, bring them up underneath the hip bones. And then the hands are gonna slide to the thighs, press away from the thighs, parallel to the floor, belly in, shoulders back, lean if you must lean. Bend into the knees and sit back into a supported chair. So adjust here, right? If you're not exactly where you need to be, hang on, come center, extend. And then let's stretch up to the ceiling and release the arms. So we're gonna move into sun salutes here. So I need my full mat, let's see. So from the top of your mat, right, adjust, move with your breath, right? Let's inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Inhale and come halfway up. Exhale, step yourself back into a plank. Knees, if you'd like, knees down to the belly, keeping the elbows tight to the sides. Hands next to the side ribs, just a gentle little roll into our shoulders, baby cobra. Releasing up and back, down dog on the exhale. And then inhaling, step forward, fold. 1 step or 10, whatever. Coming halfway up, and then back over again. Come all the way up. Inhale, stretching to the ceiling. Exhale, release. Again, inhale, stretch. And fold. Halfway up. Exhale, back to plank. Take it down. Roll, maybe pull. Find that length and space. Exhale, move back to down dog. And then inhale, stepping forward, fold. Halfway up. Exhale over. Stretch to the ceiling. And release. So we've got one more we're going to add on or not. Modify still if you need, certainly. Let's inhale, sit into a chair. And then exhale into your fold. Halfway up. Exhale, back plank. Take the knees if you still need, down to the belly. Nice and controlled. Inhale as you roll, pull. You can press to come a little higher into your cobra. Releasing that, back to down dog. And then the right foot's going to step forward. Come to lunge, toes all the way up to your fingers. Dropping the back knee or the heel. Inhale as you lift up. And then exhale, come on back over again. Lunge and down dog. Slide forward to plank. Exhale to the belly. Roll to your cobra. And then back to down dog. Left foot's turned, stepping forward. Knee or heel to the mat, you decide, all the way up. Take it back into your lunge and back to down dog. Forward into plank and down. Rolling into cobra. And then back to your down dog. Holding in down dog or dropping down into your child's pose. You decide here. Listening to your body. Listening to your breath. Taking one more breath here. And then making our way back to down dog. If you drop down. Inhale, step your feet forward, come to fold. Halfway up. And then back over. Into chair. And releasing back to the top. So from here, let's go ahead and take a short step back with the right foot. And we're going to start in this square position here. So the toes are pointing forward, so the hips are square, and the shoulders are square to the top of the mat. Right? Even on the four corners of the feet, bending into that left knee. Feel a nice stretch down the back of your right leg. You can leave the hands on the hips for stability, kind of keeping them square as much as you can, or you can extend the arms, reaching out toward the ceiling. Try keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can look up unless that bothers your neck, makes you wobbly. And then let's open up into a warrior two. So left arm forward, right arm back. You'll probably be able to open your feet a little wider because now the hips are open to the side. So check in that you can still see your left big toe. Shoulders over hips. And then we'll bend the left arm, rest the forearm, bring the right arm up and over the ear, stretch long through your left side. Same idea without feeling like you're squishing your left. Stretch long through the right side and keeping the left side long as well. We're going to release that and come over into a lunge. Let's go ahead and drop the back knee. You can lift it again when we're where we're going if you want. So keeping the hips square as much as you can, drop them nice and low, and then climb up on the thigh here. So lifting the upper body more vertical gives you a nice little stretch in the right hip flexor and thigh. If you'd like, bring the right hand to the outside of the knee, keep the knee pointing forward. Left hand just to the hip and add this gentle, easy twist. It doesn't have to get any fancier than this. This is a twist, right? And it's balancing too, so remember to just be gentle. Let's maybe bring that right elbow to the outside of the knee. And you can work your way around, right? You can sort of dig it in and then work the belly around, dig it in more, work your side ribs back, right? Maybe dig it in more, work your shoulder back. Palms press into each other, and we rotate around. So the knee stays pointing forward, don't let it collapse on you. And again, if you wanted to add in, you can certainly lift the back knee away from the floor. Keep your twist though, that knee is just extra. Let's release that twist. And then take your left leg straight and just kind of wiggle and shift a little bit here. Come back to the lunge. And we're going to twist to our second side, so to speak, right? Bring the left hand on the inside of the leg and the right hand to the hip. This time, think about rotating your belly around to the right, your side ribs toward the ceiling, and your shoulder back, working to keep the hips square for now, right? If you want to add all the bells and whistles on, you can go ahead and bind. You can just simply snake your right hand behind your back, reaching toward the left hip. You can lift your back knee, and if you're lifting your back knee, then you can drop the back heel so the hip opens, right? And you've got maybe a full bind or something in between. Take one more breath. Release it all back over to your lunge. We're going to step back into it, down dog and wiggle. Shaking it out, releasing that hip. And then we'll walk the feet back to the hands, come into our standing fold. Take a little bend in your knees here, roll on up to standing. We'll work to our second side. So that short step back with the left foot. Take your time, finding exactly where your feet need to be. Bending into the right knee when you're ready. Keeping the hips and shoulders square, and then maybe reaching the arms. One more breath in your warrior one. And then moving into warrior two. Stretching that right arm forward, check your feet, look for your big toe. Adjust the back toes in or out, depending on how open your hip is. And then bend the right arm, rest it on the thigh, left arm up and over. Sinking into your hips. So you can even feel a little bit of that binding foundation here, right? Your shoulder is back. Your hips are sinking low. Your chest is kind of rotating toward the ceiling-ish. Yeah? It starts there. And then let's release, come over to lunge. Dropping the back knee. So you can leave those toes tucked under in the event that you want to lift them away from the floor, right? Keep the hips low, climb up on the thigh. Lifting the chest as much as your body will allow you to. Get that nice stretch here. And then you decide how deep your twist goes. So maybe just the left hand to the outside, right hand to the hip, and you pull around a little bit. If you go deeper, left elbow to the outside of the knee, and then you press into the leg to draw yourself around. Remember, you're looking for the belly, the side ribs, and the shoulder. If the palms come together, if the knee lifts, that's all extra. Maybe. Releasing whatever you got over here. And then again here, just kind of taking that right leg straight, unplug a little bit, shake your hip out. And then sinking back into the lunge and twisting to our second side. Go ahead and bring the right hand to the inside. And then the left hand to the hip. Okay. Rotating the belly, the side ribs, the shoulder around. And then again here, adding on whatever feels right for you. So maybe that left hand kind of just sneaks behind. You're pushing against the leg, you're pulling with the left hand a little bit, opening the body back up towards the ceiling, kind of. Binding if you want to bind. Lifting the back knee if that's you. Feeling the twist through the spine is the point. All the other fancy stuff is just that fancy. And then we're going to release it all. Make your way back to down dog, and again, just wiggle. Go ahead and drop on down to your knees for a moment. Take a couple of breaths in child's pose, just kind of rebooting, resetting. Everybody's good. All right. So come back to down dog. And then from down dog, step your feet forward, back to the fold. Once more here, let's go ahead and bend into the knees, roll on up through the spine. And we're going to add some twists in to our standing balance. So if you need to be near a wall, certainly move to a wall. If you want to be off your mat, the less squish you have under your foot, the easier balancing is. So just kind of keep that in your head. That way you can blame that if you're wobbly. So let's go ahead and shift all the weight. Let's take all the weight over into the left foot. Or lift the right knee. This knee stays pointing forward, so we can use it as our foundation, right? Helps keep the hip square as well. Bring the left hand up to the outside of the right leg. Toward your knee, more towards your hip. It doesn't matter. Begin to rotate your belly around. You can use the leg to pull against a little bit as long as the knee stays pointing forward. Side ribs more toward the back of your mat. Taking the shoulder back. You can look over the shoulder. Sometimes turning the head is too much. You can make it a little bit more complicated up front here. You're grabbing the outside of your calf or maybe down to the foot and extending the leg. So wherever on this leg is, again, less important. Left leg is straight, you're standing up tall, and you've got a twist. Take one more breath. And then let's release what we got here. And we'll go to the second side. So setting here, all the way to the right. Lift the left. And then begin, right? See where you go. Can the twist be deeper? Can the leg get involved? Take your time. One more breath. And then gently releasing that. So let's go ahead and stretch the arms up toward the ceiling. Gently take yourself over into a fold. Let's drop back to our down dog. And then down to the knees. Sitting back on the heels here. Let's bring the legs around front. So, legs extended out long. We're upright on the pelvis again here. Belly's in. Sitting extra tall. Reach the arms. And let's just gently fold over the legs. Take your time. Whether you touch your toes or not, keep the chest open and lifted. One more breath. And then we'll inhale, come back up again. And exhale to release. So let's bring the right foot flat to the floor. And we're going to bring it either to the inside or to the outside, right? You can have this foot more toward your ankle or more toward your hip, wherever you can be so that your pelvis is neutral, right? And your spine can be long. And so don't sacrifice those things just to have your foot in a certain place or another, okay? So you can hang on for dear life, sitting up really tall here. The left leg can stay extended. Let's see if you can maintain this with this left heel in front of the right sit bone. Don't sit on it, right? That'll screw up your pelvis for sure, right? But sit really tall. So you decide what little pieces work and what little pieces don't. Take the left arm and wrap it around the leg, and your right arm behind your back like we were before. So then push into the floor, sitting tall. Pull against your leg like we've been. So the belly rotates, the side ribs, the shoulder. Keeping the left shoulder back as you look over the right, maybe. One more breath. We're gently going to release that back to center. Unhook your legs. And we'll move to the second side. So, left foot to the inside or the outside. High or low. Check in, right? Find that nice foundation. And then maybe the right knee bends or not. So finding where it is here. And you might find that it's not the same. Right? So just kind of go with what should be here. We're going to wrap the right arm. And then the left hand behind the back. Press into the floor. Pull against the leg, rotate your spine around, find that length, see how even you can be up and down the spine. Let's gently release and come back to center. Unhook your legs. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Oh my goodness. Bringing the heels in, lift your chest. You can hang on here. You can lean back a bit. Keeping your chest lifted. And then round through your spine and drop on down to your back. Keep the soles of the feet together. Let your feet come to the floor. Rest your knees out to the sides. Releasing your back, your inner hip. Take another big breath. And then bring the knees back together and hug those knees into the chest here. Let yourself rock a little bit, releasing your spine. And then let's go ahead and take the feet to the floor. Find hip bone distance. I know you can't see your feet in this position, but do the best you can. Watch that the knees stay pretty neutral in line with the hips. And then bring the arms down the sides of the body here. Hug those arms in nice and tight. Keep your head neutral. Remember not to press your neck into the floor. And then press down into your triceps. Imagine pulling your heels toward your hips to gently lift your hips away from the floor. And as always, you can work yourself a little deeper or not. If you have a prop here, you can definitely sit your hips on the prop and release into this position. If you want to work deeper, you interlace your fingers and you tuck your shoulders under and you lift your hips a little higher. You can even prop your hips up here to move into a deeper position. Go ahead and take one more breath. And then gently release, bringing your hips down, holding with your feet flat. Take a breath or two, or however many you need here. And then we'll gently draw the knees back into the chest and rock a little bit. So knees hugging into the chest here. Go ahead and take your shins vertical. So it looks like your feet are stepping up on the ceiling. Reach up and grab for the soles of the feet. Insides, outsides, whatever. We're going to pull down on the feet, keeping the shins vertical, so that the knees open and maybe draw in toward the armpits. And let yourself shift and wiggle a little bit here. And once you sort of moved into a little bit, if you pull down again evenly on both feet, are you a little deeper than where you started? Keep the arms pulling down, but use the feet to kick back into the hands. Find a little bit of push and pull. Think turning the tailbone toward the floor. And then gently release both feet back to the mat. And again, after those couple poses, if it feels good to open your knees and have the soles of your feet together again here for a moment, certainly take that. And then we're going to release into this final twist. And whether you want to just allow your knees to fall to the side, maybe you want to shift your hips over to the left, we'll start to the right, of course. You can shift your hips first and then let your legs fall. But wherever you go, take your knees to the right and release. So all of the working twists that we did before, this is like the opposite, right? And you can see, right, that when we worked ourselves, we pushed and pulled and, worked for it, the twist will get bigger. But what if you could release into it more? What if that left shoulder got a little heavier? You can extend the left leg and make that feel a little heavier. But relax. If it makes you work, forget it. And the more you let go here, maybe, the deeper you drop in. Just a couple more breaths here. And then very gently make your way back up to the middle. So whatever variation you did on the first side, take it to your second side. So legs are moving over to your left. And then take a second. If you feel a little crooked or whatever, make your spine long. It's the only requirement in this twist. And then let go. Notice places that maybe you don't even think would be involved. I used to squeeze my bottom hip and my bottom glute. So check for places that you may be holding tension that you don't even think matter. And if you release them, does it actually maybe matter? Adding, extending the right leg for that little bit more sensation if and when you're ready for that. How deeply can you let go? Taking one more breath. And then gently making your way back to the center. Gradually drawing the knees back into the chest and allowing yourself to rock. Squeeze those knees in as tight as you can get. Forehead pulling toward the knees, round up through your spine. And then release that out into a full body stretch. Releasing the stretch and letting your arms come back down by your sides. So again here, just like before, take a second. Make sure you feel neutral on the mat. Finding that comfortable spot and releasing into it. Once the body is settled, allow the awareness to come back solely to the breath. Taking just a few minutes here to simply observing the breath. Keeping the mind present and quiet. Simply allowing yourself to be. Slowly draw in a deep cleansing breath, and then let it all go. Allow your body to gently move, stretch. When you're ready, taking the feet flat, slowly making your way back to seated. We'll bring the palms to touch, bowing to the light. Namaste. Thanks for coming today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll just share something, hopefully pretty quick. Most of you know that I teach at a gym, and there's always nonsense, right? Somebody walking into your class, dropping their weights, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And that can be ridiculously distracting, ridiculously. But it reminds me of a story that there was a teacher, in India, probably some ashram, where teaching meditation, they're in the temple, they've got the incense and everything is groovy, right? And then he takes them out into the middle of the marketplace and says, okay, now meditate, right? So hopefully you could be present and be aware despite the lawn maintenance going on, right? And that's the trick, to be here no matter what is there, right? So hopefully your body is happy. If you are interested and you want to jump in on that 5-day challenge or the 4-week program, please give me a shout either in the comments or contact me in instant messenger or email or whatever you have. And have a great week and happy Valentine's Day. Do something sweet for yourself tomorrow or your lover, that one too. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.